Hello, everybody. Welcome to Momo Nomo, the home of the Happy Apostate. I'm not very happy today because of the subject that I'm covering. I have had it, like so many people, with the number of SA cases that are coming out, not in the world, not in the United States, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'd like to thank RFM, Rebecca Biblioteca, and Bill Reel on Mormonism for this report. RFM, being an attorney, always does such a great job reporting on these types of things. Let me share this with you.
5 years ago, 4 women, these are 3 of them in the picture, 4 women came forward with allegations of sexual abuse by West Lynn, which is the name of the city in Oregon, West Lynn doctor David Farley, former doctor. More than 150 women and girls would follow. That is stunning. More than 150 girls and women would follow with similar allegations as the first 4. On Friday, the longtime family physician was arraigned in Clackamas County Circuit Court on a raft of felony charges. Farley, 67, appeared virtually from Clackamas County Jail after turning himself in earlier that day, which was arranged so that he did not have to spend the night in jail. You turn yourself in on the morning of the hearing so you can have the hearing and have bail set and bail out before the sun goes down. That's the idea there. The former doctor faces 11 felony charges for his conduct with 3 former patients. They include 4 counts of first-degree sex abuse, 5 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, 1 count of first-degree sexual penetration, and 1 count of second-degree sexuall penetration. In 3 decades, David Farley practiced medicine in Clackamas County at Providence's Willamette Falls Medical Center, Legacy's Meridian Park Hospital, and at his own practice, the West Lynn Family Health Clinic. These institutions and Farley are named in a nearly $1 billion lawsuit brought by 180 of his former patients. The doctor was also a prominent leader in the local Mormon church, where he allegedly met many of the patients who would later claim he abused them. In 2016, an Oregon teenager went to see her longtime family doctor, David Farley, for a physical before her missionary trip. Like the doctor, the teenager was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He allegedly convinced her that a penetrative pelvic exam was necessary at such an appointment, a line he frequently used even when evaluating elementary school-aged patients for a sports physical. Many met David Farley through the Wilsonville ward of the LDS Church, where he was a stake high counselor, or were introduced to him by other friends at the church, as not only as a respected leader within the church, but a doctor with a degree from Harvard University. David Farley seemed inherently trustworthy. David Farley abruptly retired in August of 2020 and moved to Idaho. That same month, he surrendered his medical license to the Oregon Medical Board after the board found he engaged in sexual misconduct and took photos of the breasts and genitals of underage patients.
Edition of the 5 o'clock news. A former West Lynn doctor accused of sexually assaulting more than 100 women and girls, some younger than 14, has been arrested and is now facing criminal charges. Fox 12's Spencer Schott was in the courtroom today as the defendant faced a judge for the first time. Spencer?
Yeah, Pete, it was a packed courtroom this afternoon full of people who say their lives were impacted by the former doctor, David Farley. Everyone declined to comment after today's hearing, but Farley is now facing 11 charges of sexual abuse and unlawful sexual penetration. 3 victims are named in these criminal filings, one of them being a minor. Now, we've spoken to previous alleged victims who've spoken out against Farley in the past, and they say they've been waiting for these charges for years. Last year, 3 of Farley's alleged victims, who have a civil lawsuit against him, spoke to CNN about the abuse they say they faced while under the doctor's care.
He told me that he had a young patient die of cervical cancer. And so he wanted to check all his patients starting at a young age.
I remember laying there and thinking, what's going on? And then he hurt me. It hurt really bad. And it made my whole body jump.
After hearing Now, on top of these criminal charges that were just filed today, Farley is also facing a civil lawsuit where more than 170 women allege that he sexually abused them. That case is also making its way through the courts. Reporting live from Clackamas County, Spencer Schott, Fox 12 Oregon.
I don't know about you, but this disgusts me that he took these victims who didn't know better, women getting ready to go on a mission, little girls having their sports physicals, who don't know what the doctor's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do. It took a few women coming forward, and before you know it, 180 women stepped forward and said that they'd been assaulted by this doctor. By the way, this comes as no surprise that he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a high-councilman. And many of the ward and stake members were his patients. This is a cancer. This is an epidemic. This is one case out of hundreds and hundreds. I asked ChatGPT, how many sexual assault charges have there been in the last decade by members of the Mormon Church? There is no single comprehensive figure for the total number of sexual assault charges against members of the Mormon Church in the last decade. However, available data points to hundreds of lawsuits and claims, with concentrations in certain states, alongside a pattern of underreporting, internal settlement, and institutional secrecy that makes precise numbers difficult to confirm. California alone has seen nearly 100 lawsuits filed against the LDS Church for sexual abuse in just the last few years, with these cases consolidated under a single judge as of 2025. Nationwide settlements have been paid in at least 27 known cases by the LDS Church, with 15 of those totaling approximately $51 million as of 2025. This reflects only cases that reached public financial settlement. Many more allegations may not have resulted in charges or public lawsuits. Over 100 claims of sexual abuse involving LDS church leaders have been documented in California, and a nationwide class action effort is underway, suggesting the true number is likely much higher. Abuse cases have occurred across multiple states, with notable settlements in Arizona, California, Idaho, Utah, and West Virginia. Many survivors report being discouraged from involving law enforcement, facing church discipline for reporting abuse, or being offered financial settlements to remain silent. Are you kidding me? How sad is that? That victims are afraid to report the abuse in fear that they will receive some sort of discipline from the church, and that the church will cover things up and silence them with money, of which they have plenty. The LDS Church officially denies systemic wrongdoing and defends its use of helplines and legal counsel, but critics argue these tools have shielded abusers and protected the institution. How many times have we heard the story that when someone calls this hotline, a bishop, stake president, the attorneys for the church say, don't call the police, don't call the police, so that they have time to sweep it under the rug, in my humble opinion. Yeah, how about them apples? I don't want to go on and on with this, but I want you to know that if you have experienced anything, any circumstance in which you felt uncomfortable, please don't hesitate to let the authorities know. Moms, dads, make sure you know who your little girl is staying the night with if she has a sleepover. Make sure you know that when she goes on a fun trip with her little friends, that you're very familiar with the parents. Let them know that you'll be checking in on your child. And let your kids know, for heaven's sake, if something feels uncomfortable or tricky, if you utilize the term tricky, which you're coming down to the kids' level. Did he do something tricky? Did she do something tricky? Did she do anything that made you feel uncomfortable? Let your kids know that they need to tell you right away. Hopefully it won't happen, but it happens every day, literally, every day, multiple times, especially in the church. That's what's so disgusting to me, is these people have been taught differently. If a man is rebaptized, then all his sins are washed away and we can forget about his transgressions. Recently, there was a case that we talked about just last week on Tuesdays with Tim, where a man was found guilty of child SA. He was excommunicated, got rebaptized, and pretty soon they had him working with kids again, even playing freaking Santa Claus, letting the kiddos come up and sit on his lap. Because guess what? He was rebaptized. His sins were washed away, right? That's like saying, well, you were an alcoholic, but you've been through the 12-step program, so you're good to go. You can start drinking again. Doesn't make much sense. Most members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I will say, are very law-abiding, upstanding citizens. But please don't think that because they're members, they're good guys. Please don't think that because your stake president or your bishop is a member, he's infallible, because that could lead to big problems. Thank you all for listening to my rant. I'm disgusted every time I hear this. I have a little stepdaughter who's 11 right now. And don't think I'm not keeping an eagle eye on everywhere she goes. Fortunately, she's got a wonderful mom and a wonderful dad who watch and take care of her as well. But stepdaddy here is ready to pounce if he sees anything untoward or anything suspicious. Thank you all. I love you all. Be safe. Be very vigilant. This is Momo Nomo, the Happy Apostate, signing off.